Imagine that we have a cube made up of smaller cubes that is 4 by 4 by 4. And we color that whole cube blue. We paint it blue. And then we are asked to find out how many of the smaller cubes have 3 blue faces. We are trying to figure out how many of these small cubes that make up our big cube have 3 of their faces that are blue. What does that mean? Well, let's say that we broke this cube apart after we painted it. We took a piece off of it, and now we can see that even though we painted it, we didn't paint all of it. The inside is still not painted blue. So our question, how many of these small cubes have 3 blue faces, we can now figure out. I took this one piece off, and this piece I know has 3 blue faces. 1, 2, 3. And I know that that piece is my corner piece. If I were to turn that piece around, I'd see that there are some faces that aren't blue. But I know that there are 3 here because the other 3 faces would be on the inside. And I said that I know that's my corner piece. To figure out how many other pieces are like that, I could count all of my corners. So there is 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, and there would be 1 more corner piece. If I had a shape and were to turn the shape around, I could see that corner piece that's down here in the bottom. So 8 corner pieces. There are 8 corners. So 8 pieces, 8 small cubes would have 3 blue faces. Our next question is how many of the small cubes would have only 2 blue faces? Well, let's see if we can figure that out. I see that these cubes would have 2 blue faces. 1 blue face here and 1 blue face here. And this one right next to it also has 2 blue faces. So I'm going to mark those here. I have 2 cubes. And that looks the same, would look the same as the back over here. So I can count these cubes as well as the side cubes. So I already can count 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 cubes that have 2 blue faces. But I need to do that for all of my sides. So I see 2 more here, and 2 more here, 2 more here. So I'm up to 10, 12, 14 now, 15, 16, 17, 18. I have 18 blue small cubes that have 2 blue faces. But what if I were to turn this shape around? Am I done yet? I don't think so. If I were to turn this shape, I would see more sides. I can see now that there are some more blocks that would have 2 blue faces after I had turned it. So this would be 19, 20, 21, 22, and then I have to remember that there is another edge that I can't see that's hidden down here in the back. and it would have 2 blocks on it. So I would have 24 small cubes total that have 2 faces that would be painted blue. Our next question would be, how many blocks would only have 1 blue face? This step we can figure out by looking at just one side, one face of the cube. We can see that if we were to take this block out right here, it would look like this. It would only have one of its faces painted blue because only one of its faces is on the outside of the cube. So there's 1, 2, 3, 4 cubes like this on each face of the cube. And I know that the cube has 6 sides. So if there are 4 cubes to count and there are 6 sides, I know that 4 times 6 is also 24 small cubes. So there are also 24 small cubes that only have 1 blue face. And finally, students, how many small cubes would have 0 blue faces? Let's go back to our very beginning cube to look at this. To figure out how many cubes would have 0 blue faces, we are trying to figure out how many cubes are on the inside. How many cubes did not get painted at all? And students, we can do this by figuring out how many small cubes there are total. And that is the volume of the cube. We know volume is the length of the cube times the width of the cube, also times the height of the cube. And we can figure this out by looking at the base. The base is the very bottom layer of your shape. And if we looked at the very bottom layer would look like this. We would have 4 cubes by 4 cubes. And that it would be 16 cubes. And we can see that there are 4 layers like this bottom layer. There are 4 of them. So 16 times 4 is 64. So there are 64 blocks total that make up our cube. And to figure out how many of those 64 have 0 blue faces, we can subtract the cubes that we've already figured out. We know that 8 of them have 3 blue faces, 24 have 2, and 24 more have 1 blue face. All of those cubes we can add together to figure out how many cubes have at least 1 blue face. 4 plus 4 is 8, and 8 would be 16, carry the 1. 56 have at least 1 blue face. We know that 64 make up our total. So to figure out how many have 0 blue faces, I'm going to take 64 total minus 56 that have at least 1 blue face, and that's going to give me 8. 8 cubes have at least 0 blue faces.